This video is sponsored by Chakra 17. Awaken your vitality with our anti-aging coffee.
John, it's that time of the calendar that we catch up for a monthly chat about what the hell is going on. So, how have you been, John? You had a good month?
It's been a grind, to be honest with you, David. We've done a lot of podcasts this month. There's been a lot of information. It's in a flood stage. Quite frankly, the challenge for us has been as a team dealing with you deal with it as well, I'm sure, the light and dark, positive, negative. People are either all in or they've given up, and you can't please everybody, but it's just the endless negativity is
Do you
just.
believe in karma, John?
I believe in you reap what you sow, free will.
I don't know what that was. I said, do you believe in karma, John?
And
What
I
goes
said,
around?
I said, I believe in free will. Biblically, you reap what you sow.
That's the same thing, isn't it? Yeah, I
Complementary.
think that's a
Yeah.
good expression. You reap what you sow. But I believe in that, and I've seen a lot of people that have dropped out of it because a string of events has just happened and put them in a situation where there's like, oh my God, I never saw that coming. And it's because of their negativity and it's because of what they talk and their sort of backstabbing words like, oh, that guy's full of shit, don't listen to him. Instead of saying, well, you know what, everybody's got the right to have an opinion. If it doesn't resonate with you, then just, don't follow him. But the attacks that go on all the time and people, wow, screaming and shouting and, bad mouthing. Luckily, I'm not a victim of it all. I don't participate in it. Even if somebody was to try something, I still wouldn't say I'm a victim. I would just say, do whatever you want to do. My track record, it proves exactly who I am and my integrity. But I've seen so many people fall by the wayside because they don't have the longevity or the stamina or I don't think they're touched enough by God to follow the path, because walking the righteous way, doing the right thing is never the easy way. So as much as it's grinding against the stone, you've got to know that you're doing the right thing, and therefore it's not such a laborious task. The amount of broadcasting that we do, the amount of research we do, I mean, it's all for the greater good. So, yes, it is hard work, but look at the rewards it gives me personally. I mean, I get fantastic feedback from the things that I'm uncovering, and people enjoy what I do. So you've got to put your teeth to the grindstone, as they say, and just carry on until we can get through this. And where do you want to go first, John? You got something you want to share? Do you want me to do a bit of geopolit?
Well, you're the guest, so I'm going to start with you first, and I'll feed off of you. But I do want to say something because you just said a mouthful right there, David. If I may, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard place to be from this standpoint because we know we have the privilege and the blessing. I have great guests like you, friend. I'm honored to call you a friend in the most legitimate of senses.
Absolutely.
Not just for TV sake. We don't care about that stuff. My team does a fabulous job. I wouldn't and couldn't do it without them. But people don't see that every day. They don't see the day-to-day behind the scenes. They just see what they're able to see. So on one hand, I understand where the people are coming from. They're frustrated. It's a birthing, right? You have kids, right, David? You were there for the birthing process, and that birthing process is, I'm sure, no fun. I'll go through it myself one day, my wife specifically, when I meet her. And well, you've got to believe it.
You are in California.
For now.
Anything's possible.
No, not she's not here. Trust me. They're emotionally unavailable here. She's not here, but that's fine. But I'm just saying, whatever, semantics aside, that birthing process is not fun. It's painful. It's unpleasant, but the backside of it, right? The joy. And since you've been there a few times, you correct me if I'm wrong as a dad, you don't remember the pain as much. You bask in the end result. And I think we have to think the same way with this.
Yeah, it's often the case. I mean, you know what? Someone was asking me. The mother of my son. I lived with her for 14 years, and I broke up with her 20 years ago. And somebody was asking me what it's like, and I said, you know what? All I remember is like little snapshots, like pictures. There's so much gone on in my life since then, since 2004 or five or something. I broke up with her, but I mean, it's so intense. Some of it just becomes like distant memory. But stick at the grindstone, follow the righteous path. I had a lovely experience, John. I want to talk to you about before we
Please.
go on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was in I was going to say Bulgaria. I was in Albania. I was out there. Actually, legitimately, in Greece and Albania, they grow a lot of apricots, and I buy apricot seeds because we manufacture it into a supplement called B17. So I was out there looking at it. It didn't work out. They weren't the highest quality, so I didn't buy anything. But on the way back, standing at the airport, John, there's a whole group of American kids in front of me. I'm talking 19 to 21. And I looked at them and I just got that really nice energy off them. So I moved right next to them and I couldn't really hear, and I wasn't eavesdropping, but I said, I bet that they're all Christian volunteers working with orphans and children out here in Albania. And one of them sat next to me, but I didn't recognize him. And I was editing a video, and he says, "Sir, are you a Brit?" Very polite. I said, "Yes, I am." "Are you an American?" He said, "Yes, I am. I'm from Georgia," but he didn't sound like it. I said, "Are you part of a Christian church group out here doing charity work?" He said, "How did you know?" I said, "I can see that God shining energy all over you." He said, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You guys, you got to the airport in an Islamic Muslim country with God all over you and you shone out. I was attracted to it like a moth to a flame." And then when we got on the bus, the last thing I said to them, they're really interesting because you know what my spiritual beliefs are. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to take this next 5, 6 minutes on this bus before we get to immigration. I said to them, "How was it?" They said, "We were overwhelmed with how much poverty and things that we had to do." I said, "Did you ever falter from your beliefs?" They said, "No." But what I did question was, "Is this doing any good?" And I said, his name was Toby. I said, "Toby," I said, "you feel it's like dropping one drop into a large ocean?" He said, "Yeah." What could we do?" I said, "But that drop, it's like throwing a stone, a small pebble into a pond. It makes a ripple. It does make an impact. So if you think that your efforts to do good and bring that work, that goodness into a place of darkness is not worth it, don't ever think that. Don't ever fault. Don't ever second judge. You're on a good path. You're doing God's work. Keep at it." And then that next thing I know, all of them were listening. So a really beautiful moment. Young kids, a long way from home in a scary country, doing God's work. I loved that. It really made me feel good. It was worth just going to meet them kids. So nice story, huh?
Great story. And it's affirming of where we're headed. And just again, before we continue, because I think people, I certainly like it, you like it, I'm hoping some of the audience seems to like it, they still show up. But this is the inside commentary that we can't always do on every other podcast we do, because there's agendas that need to be fulfilled in terms of getting information out.
Well, we got
I understand the frustration people are feeling. I'm not unsympathetic, but as an empath, I don't know if you are as well, you feel the good and the bad. And it's hard because you absorb it and there's so few people to tell or understand. Those people on the other side also don't see what we're seeing. You and other people are like captains of a ship where you can see from the beginning, but they can't see that. So it's hard to explain something to people who don't have the vision or the faith or both to see it. And what we're working our best to do, David, for the people is try to steer them safe to shore. But
good analogy.
People have to, thank you. People have to make the choice. That's why I always talk about my audience, changing your mindset. You can invest as much as you want, but if you don't invest in your mindset, in being determined to be more positive than negative, it's really going to hurt you in the short and the long term.
Absolutely agree with that, John. Let's move on before we burn this out. We're just having a chat like two guys having a coffee.
What's going on? So what's going on in the geopolitical world in your estimation?
I mean, the peace deal, then you've got the Tomahawk missiles. It's all, again, a lot of distraction going on. Zelensky's begging missiles. Trump says, yeah, I'll give him some Tomahawks. Then he says, nah, I've changed my mind. Putin's been saying, listen, don't interfere. It's none of your business. And then he sent Trump a very strong message saying that. Then you've got the EU about any day now to introduce national digital ID cards, and actually it's going worldwide. There's about 18 countries worldwide that are doing that. People are terrified of that. So what I said was, people said, look, until it's right in your face, how many times did they tell us they were going to do something and they haven't done it? How many times we heard about the 10 days of darkness? All these drones flying around over New Jersey in last year. You remember that? That's all gone quiet. What was the real truth about that? Just focus on your own important things that you have to do. Focus on your loved ones. Focus on your family. Stop letting all these distractions, distract you. Then you've got this AI Atlas intergalactic spaceship that's coming within the next couple of weeks. People are asking me about that. I said, ignore it. I said, if it's anything we need to know about, deal with it on the day. There's no point in losing sleep over stuff you can't control. Put your faith in God when it comes to all these things and smile and sleep easy. So a lot of distractions, the bottom line, John. None of them have really come out to be clear what they're really up to. So for the time being, I don't really have anything I want to really enforce or push or underline. I'm just saying it's so much distractions going on out there. Just focus on what's in front of you and stop looking over the neighbor's fence to see what they're doing. That's what I do.
I think that's brilliantly put. Well, I'll just get right to my stuff. I'll show
Sure,
everything.
mate. Let's go on. There's been lots going on in the markets.
Well, there is, but before we get to that, I got something for you that my buddy John G, right up your street in Spain. You may know this, you may not know this, but it's going to be a good discovery for the people. So let's take a look. I'm going to run through the different articles per usual. Let me know when you can see this, David.
Yes. Oh, is this real? I saw the civil guard and the army in Spain at the Congress of desperately arrested.
It is real. And since you speak,
I thought this was AI.
No, it's real. And since you speak Spanish, you can tell us exactly what.
Play it.
The 10-second clip. Well, let me just hold on. I'm going to play it a couple of times so we can get it. Hold on a minute.
¿Qué significa esto? Manos a la vista, señorías. ¿Pero qué hacen? Estamos en sesión. Diputado Llorens, queda detenido. Gírese. Las manos detrás, ahora. No pueden llevarse a nadie por la puerta del fondo. Asegura.
All right, I heard it.
Manos a la vista, señorías. ¿Pero qué hacen? Estamos en sesión. Diputado Llorens, queda detenido. Gírese. Las manos detrás, ahora. No pueden llevarse a nadie por la puerta del fondo. Asegura.
Okay, what were they saying?
She said, what's going on? He says, you're all under arrest. She says, we're in a session here. You can't come in. Estamos aquí. You can't come in. He says, put your hands behind your back. We're detaining you.
Yep.
So but I don't know if that's real or AI, John. Has it been confirmed? Because I saw that. And
I've heard from my team. That's all I can tell you, that it's real. I'm sure some people argue otherwise, but no, I think they're doing these arrests. I mean, tomorrow Maduro is supposedly being taken out underground bunkers to get him out. And that's not just about fentanyl and trafficking. Of course it is. But ultimately, it's to remove the corrupt leadership so they can bring in Humberto Gonzalez, which will in turn revalue the boulevard everybody's been so keen about. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, again, you hear these. The problem is when you see videos these days, you just don't believe it.
I know. I understand that.
Is Trump really going in there to take out the narcos, or is he going in there for the oil before somebody else gets it?
Well, David, multiple things can be true at one time. It doesn't have to be either or. It can be I think there are a multitude of things. So
let's just text my friend now to see if it was arrested in the Spanish Senate.
Yeah. While you're doing that, let me play the next thing. This is just a good cursory overview a friend of mine sent me. Stuff we already know. This is for the new audience that maybe is kind of getting up to speed on all the lies they've been told, particularly in finances. So this is Nixon and Kissinger. We talked about when they took us off the gold standard, the everyday implications to the average person.
1971. Productivity and hourly wages always went up together, but then in 1971, something happened. Wages began to stagnate while productivity has continued to go up, and that's just the start. The price of a Campbell soup can was 10 cents for the longest time, but since 1971, it has skyrocketed to now over 120 per can. And get this, before 1971, it took you around 2 years to save for a house, but now it takes 7. The top 1% of earners have continued to see their income grow since 1971, but the bottom 90% has not. And look how many countries have had a banking crisis since 1971. Since 1971, the US national debt has gone completely vertical. Same with healthcare costs, and oddly enough, we've had a massive growth of administrators while the amount of physicians has stayed flat. And just look how the American diet has changed since 1971. Less beef and potatoes and way more corn and chicken. This one's crazy. Look at the global production of vegetable oil since 1971. Obesity among young children was 5% in 1971, but now it's over 20%. Even the number of prisoners has skyrocketed since 1971. Unfortunately, people are getting married later too. In 1971, the average age was around 23, but now it's closer to 30. The prices of electricity, food, and fruit have all dramatically gone up since 1971 too. In 1971, President Nixon ended the gold standard, meaning the US dollar was no longer backed by gold. And since then, things have gotten a lot worse. What do you think about all this? And don't get me started on shrinkflation. What the heck?
Okay, so, I had Sandy Mirecki on, a regular guest, David, who's a ex-military pilot, test pilot for the Air Force, the best of the best. She was even saying that a lot of the vegetable oils, as you know, that's supposed to be used for engine lubrication, not for people to ingest. So pretty crazy. Go ahead.
I would absolutely believe that.
Yeah. So moving to the next one, Whiplash, pump the markets till October 30th, crash on Hollow Wicked, transfer of wealth. Again, we don't do dates and rates here. I'm just giving you what people are seeing as timelines, just to be clear about that. RV on November 5th. We'll see. I may be as well going here, full rollout, continuing the 15th to the 22nd. This is more significant to me on this article, David. Why? Because on November 22nd, it's a fact, you can look it up, ISO 20022 goes live for the world before Thanksgiving. Yeah, do I think there's an opportunity for people to go during the holidays? Yeah. Do I think Trump is timing this for holidays? Absolutely. Hypnotic, we're in Red October, Hypnotic November, Christmas, I'll make them happy. He's got to get momentum, David, in this first quarter of the new fiscal year, fourth quarter of the calendar year into next year, because it takes 1 or 2 GDP cycles economically for it to take effect. Then declass by releasing the funds. It'll minimize the fallout, fake WD3 lockdown, bomb loads of stuff. You have all the funds ready to build a new world. And that includes all the different Nesara, Gesara trusts and all that, that sort of stuff. Let me see if I've covered. Okay, I'm going to stop it here and we'll talk before I show you a couple more things. Go ahead, your thoughts.
Well, the market was very volatile because of the crypto incident that happened last week. Everybody was squawking and screaming about that. And they're saying, well, why did it happen, David? Why did it happen? I'm also following the real estate market and some of the figures coming out of states like Florida, where there's a super high amount of places on the market. So the real estate and the mortgage payments, this is all very, very volatile stuff. We've seen what happened several years ago with the last crash because of shorts, people having 3 mortgages when they're only working as a stripper, stuff like this. So the market crashed, Bitcoin dropped. In fact, everything dropped, but it came back 5, 6, 7% relatively quickly. So I noticed the press that were putting out, multiple multi-millionaire Bitcoin gurus kill themselves, suicide, unalive. What's this unalive? It's a suicide. I've unalived. And I think a lot of the press blew all that up to just try to scare people into selling what they've got, John. I feel it was a scare tactic. They're trying to shake the trees from the last final few people who could be shaken out because they want those cryptocurrencies, and the cabal, the black hats, don't want people living in normal streets with normal Mrs. and Mrs. Normal to have their own independent source of funds, that they don't have to be slaves to them anymore.
Right.
So shaking the trees is what I've called that, and it's climbed back up.
Well, you're absolutely right, David. I mean, the attitude, I think people talk about the attitude mindset we talked about at the beginning of the podcast. HODL, hold on for dear life. Do it for cryptos, do it for currencies, do it for metals. Be in the long game, right? Wealth is acquired over time. It's not a quick fix. Health is the same way. A healthy marriage, a healthy friendship, whatever, healthy diet. It's over a sustained period of time. It's not this gaming the system quick fix that we've gotten to this microwave society we've been in, at least here in America, and I would imagine throughout, unfortunately, most of the world. People need to HODL because the bad guys always try to shake you out right before it comes down. So we must endure till the end, but we're getting to the end, thankfully. Even if people don't.
I like that.
We are.
I like your expression, microwave, because it's true. Everybody wants everything now.
Yeah.
I was just trying to think, what's the name of that? Everybody keeps the wallet in something. What's the name of that off-trader platform?
The crypto wallet, you mean?
Yeah. What's the name of one of them?
Well, there's Razor, there's Descent. That's the one I have, Descent.
No, can't remember. I was just going to see how things were going, and I can't remember the wallet.
Well, if you think of
anyway,
Trezor, was it Trezor?
No, something else.
Well, if you think of it, just let me know. Interrupt me. That's fine.
Nah, I'll have a little look. Don't worry.
Let me show you.
Shaking the trees. So if you have got crypto, hold on to them. If you have got foreign currency, hold on to it. Absolutely. Don't be trading it yet.
Absolutely, it will happen. They can't stop it. Like the old saying, nothing can stop what's coming. Let me show you just a couple other quick things here. Speaking of currency, Zimbabwe, and I want to talk about this because we get pushback all the time. Oh, people said, the dealer said it's not worth anything. Oh, they said, it's a collector's item. They have to tell you that. That's a disclaimer. They either signed an NDA or they don't know, just like the banks. Folks, let's lay out some facts. Number one, if we just talked about Maduro and the corrupt Venezuela factions, right? David, you're a geopolitical, I'm going to say proficient expert, subject matter expert is what I call you, right? You've been around long enough. Do you honestly think, David, when they stop one point of corruption, that's where it's going to end?
No, they're going to have to sweep because they all go together. They're all like drunks. You don't have one drunk by themselves. You will fill a bar full of drunks. You got to get them all out.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're cleaning out one country, doesn't it Doesn't it suffice the point that they're going to decorrupt others? Of course they are. And Zimbabwe falls right in line with this. We just talked about this last week with SGN on. He totally agrees with it. There's a parallel connection. So once Chamisa comes back in, he tucks this in under the ZIG gold-backed dollars and coins, right? And they we know they have some of the largest amount of gold and diamond reserves in the world. We've covered that I don't know how many times. Remember President Trump? They scrubbed it off the internet. Our team's been working feverishly around the clock to find it. We can't because it's been scrubbed. Maybe we can go on the dark web and find it. That's a little bit dangerous. But anyway, we're trying to find it where President Trump 10 years ago on his Apprentice show handed somebody off camera $100 trillion to Zimbabwe note. Some of our audience knows this. They've commented on in the past. He said, and I quote, "Take this note. Right now, it's not worth much, but in the future, it'll be worth a lot." He didn't say a little. He said a lot. Here's Q the Storm. What would you do with $100 trillion? Do you get it now? Some still won't get it, but we're praying that others will. This is going to be backed in digital gold. It's not like you're going to walk out of the bank, not a redemption center, a bank with physical cash, because who in their right mind would carry on that kind of money, right? It makes you a target. People rob for less. So
yeah, you need a Chinook helicopter to lift it, man, that much cash.
Exactly. So, I mean, look at the amount of plane loads of gold they took from the Vatican and all that years ago, Parliament and all the rest of it, the underground tunnels of the LBA and COMEX. So, point is, the corruption is the key to removing this, to see nationalism within the countries. You heard President Trump say he's meeting with, I think, Putin with Erdogan in Turkey, I think is this week. And then I think either next week or the week after he's meeting with Xi in China, right? We know Israel, the state of Israel, not the country, is up to their shenanigans with the bombings in Gaza. That's on purpose because they have to play the bad guy optically that's going to take out Iran as the grave surrender, which makes the whole house of cards fall.
Well, I'm still a great believer that the Israelis are mostly calling the shots in the entire American government anyway. I mean, I don't know how pally Trump is with them, because 1 minute he's yes and 1 minute he's no. That's what I'm saying. It's such distractions going on right now. You can't follow what's truthful. There is a bit of biblical prophecy sprinkled with the whole Israel thing as well, with the red heifers and the building the temple.
Yep.
So, are we in the end of days, end times? So we in that sort of tribulation? I don't know. I'm not an expert on the Bible or any of that. But what I do know, again, is there's big changes coming. Big changes coming because, it's the only way forward. Every single country has got a massive debt. Some of the African countries, I mean, you think America's got problems because at least America's got assets to pay it back. But these African countries that have been getting loans from the World Bank, they're never ever going to pay it back. And it's got to stop. You just need to wipe the slate clean. Let's go back and say, right, gold standard, silver standard, platinum standard, diamond standard. What do you got in your country that's some assets that you can back up your currency with? So we talked Zimbabwe. Yeah, perfect. 100 trillion in digital gold. Absolutely. I'd take that. It's an amazing offer. You don't want it in cash anyway. You couldn't spend that much money even if you tried. But I don't know what the exchange rate is going to be. You've always been a very strong believer in it's going to be very high. Mm-hmm. But I always get that flash of, oh God, imagine how many idiots are going to be very wealthy. You know what? The accidents.
I think this is where discernment and mindset comes in. You can't control people. It's free will, right? Even if you wanted to, we don't. But if you wanted to, if people treat this like a lottery mindset, they're going to lose. If they don't, and they think of a legacy mindset, they'll win. You're just trying to limit that collateral damage with the knowledge the best you can.
I absolutely agree. I just bought a Lamborghini and the cruise control. I thought it was autopilot, and it crashed while I was sleeping.
I bought 100 casinos with this crazy gold. It went down. I don't know what's going on. Where to go?
I mean, when that happens, I know you've got a plan. It probably won't change much in my life already, John. I've been very blessed already. I've got 7 or 8 different businesses, and they keep me very, very busy.
Well, so let's talk about that, David.
I'll devote my time to more helping others not lose their minds. I think that's probably what it said. Now, look, don't get carried away. But we'll see anyway. But it does feel like the wind of change is coming. And if we do, once we hit this 2000, what is it, 20002,
Correct. 2002.
On the 22nd, because then XRP is they're talking about that being raised, and then the stock market coming back, and so we'll see. But it's the only thing that can make any sense. Clean out the good. You can't just clean your neighbor, your house. You got to clean your neighbors of the ants and the infestation. Imagine it was an infestation. You can't just say, "Oh, well, my place is clean." As soon as you finish, because the house next door is full of the infestation, is going to come back. So you have to get rid of the whole nest.
Absolutely, but let's not gloss over what you just said. I think you kind of created one of the solution opportunities for people, because part of a mindset change is to be solution oriented, not problem oriented, right? We talked about that, our audience, your audience, many times over. You said you have multiple businesses. Solomon, throughout the book of Proverbs in the Old Testament, talked about having 8 sources of income, 8 streams of income.
Well, I have got 8 as well.
So, right. So one of the things we're recommending, we're not financial advisors, not financial advice, just good discernmental authority of information, is create streams of income, do what you love, and then help others to do what they love, empower them. That's the point of this, is paying it forward, right? Stewarding the kingdom.
Yeah.
We talked about biblical prophecy. We can touch on that. The third seal of prosperity has not opened up yet, so we still have time. That's about to hit. We'll have a season, whatever that season looks like. I don't speculate. It could, personally, I think it's the Joseph prophecy, 7 years of plenty, 7 years of famine. The point is to rule and reign until he returns, if you are a believer as I am. So whether that's 14 years, 50 years, 20 years, 100 years, hike, doesn't matter. Make the most of the time you have, create streams of income, build a legacy. I believe it's in Numbers, a good man leaves a treasure for his family and his children's children, building a legacy. Bible's replete with that as examples. So I think that's what people need to be focused on primarily, is help yourself, help others, and think in the long game, just like these investments.
Yeah, I like that. What do you got cooking with Iraq, John? We haven't talked about that yet. What have you been following?
Well, the main thing is this. Last week, we had it wasn't AI either, the Middle East peace deal, where he met with, I think, what was it, 25 nations, something like that. And so he met with 25 nations, and he specifically met with Prime Minister Sudani, shook his hand, said on camera, "You guys got plenty of oil. Let's talk soon." Let's talk soon. That was a major comm. So I think that what it comes down to is what we talked about a minute ago. Hypnotic November, Christmas, I'll make them happy. You're going to see a cacophony of events. That's already been done behind the scenes. This is just a scripted rollout of the timing they want. And we personally believe as a team, I think I can speak for my team primarily, is that it's mainly geared towards the holiday season, that window or tincture of time. One thing I would tell you, David, is I've gotten 2 confirmations over the weekend. My buddy, Mr. B, who comes on my show, he works for Schwab almost 30 years now. He has currency and bonds and cryptos, because I've brought him over to our side, but he was on the old Keynesian side. But it's valuable because he can show us where we are to where we're going. His numbers and all the analytics he's doing are showing that by the late first quarter next year, we're going to see a massive stock market crypto crash, as well as a real estate crash. And yes, it is going to happen, folks. Don't believe this nonsense that there won't be a crash. There will be. So you need to take profits at the top in this season, and then you reserve for the next one, right? You go for the next roll, because this thing will roll out in waves. But we're going to have about 2 to 3 months once the reset happens publicly, where people can prepare themselves, get the right trust, get into metals, get into the next set of cryptos, get into the next set of currencies, and so on, and be insulated so they can move forward. So that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, I think that's accurate information across the board there about the real estate and some of the other investors. Wall Street, I don't trust them. Never spent a dime on Wall Street, but I know a lot of people that have. So it's a waiting game as we head into the end of October. What is it today? The 20th?
Yeah, the 20th. Yeah, let me show this to my audience, because they always this is not AI. This is my real clock. This is the real time Pacific Coast time when this was recorded. Okay, go ahead, David.
Yeah, 20th of October. We got a month. We're going to see something. So it's going to be an interesting chat next month, Johnny boy, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I appreciate all of your information. David, tell the audience where they can find your work and Lost Thoughts, please, good sir.
Super easy. You can find me at mahoney.tv. And what I'll do, John, is you allow me a screen share.
Please. Oh, let me, I'm sorry. Let me do that now.
I haven't even checked. You might have done it already.
No,
But
I
I'll show
didn't.
you what it looks.
Is it good now?
Yes, I'll do that now. Let me do a screen. So easy, guys. Everything I'm doing broadcast, you can find it on mahoney.tv. This will take you to all the links because some of the channels that John and myself use, which is Rumble and BitChute, are banned in the UK. So if you're in the UK, you're going to have to go to Rumble. If you're in the USA, you can go to any one of these. There's all the medicines that we produce and the Telegram. All the links are down there. So easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
I like
You'll
that.
find me right there.
You included us. How nice of you.
Of course. I mean,
Any-
you've got the same problems in the UK, John. They can't watch your shows anymore.
Seriously?
Yeah, they can't watch. Yeah, BitChute's banned in the UK. You got to put it all on Rumble.
I didn't know
I
that.
thought you knew that.
I did not. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers. I'm sorry. Have
Yeah,
half
you know,
answers.
slip through the cracks. We'll be back. John, what about some currencies if people want to buy some?
Yeah, we have a shop for that here. The link is right below the description. If you have currencies or you're looking to add to the cache what you have right before the whales are starting to buy in now because they know what's coming. We'll leave that link in the description. It is uncirculated, so it's fresh for those who care. It doesn't matter. No, they'll still exchange used currency, but if you like fresh currency, they have that, and you don't have to give away all of your personal details when you order here as opposed to other places. We'll leave that link below.
Super. Well, folks, for the sake of the audience, I hope you have a great month. If something in this has resonated you and you've touched something, you get a little buzz. Whoo, that makes sense to me. That's your indication that you're on the right path. And what we've been talking about has appealed to you. And John will be back next month with hopefully a really interesting one because 22nd is a huge day for the financials. And let's see what God brings in and blesses us with in the next 4 weeks. So until then, see you, John. God bless, buddy. Take care. Bye-bye to the audience. It's always a pleasure being here with you all.
Thank you. Godspeed, David.